All right. Can you see
See
me?
me now? I see
Okay.
you.
All right. Good to go.
Okay.
All right. So I wanted to kind of touch on, because we didn't really go into the whole CPS report
Right.
issue the last time, um, and that was done as a like a revenge tactic,
Absolutely.
by a group of people, not just John, but it was because of the issue with John and Cody.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to see what the circumstances that caused him to do that, and also who enabled that, and who called, who um, just break it down like issue by issue if you can,
Okay.
because so other people understand, how this process goes when you when when you I
Yeah.
guess unfriend John, or something happens with
Well,
your relationship with John.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, when he left here that night, when we kicked him out after the fight and everything, he said on his way out that he was going to call CPS. And Cody even stated that to the police. He heard him. I mean, we were all by the door, obviously, as he was leaving. I don't know if I mean, I guess I took it seriously, but not, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why. I was like, I just didn't think he would go to those lengths. I mean, he knows that's not a game. But anyway, so, I mean, I really didn't think much more about it. And then people were sending me stuff after that, things he was posting. Like I posted one of those things on my timeline the other day. He was posting like a foreboding, like, oh, that's going to be a really great Valentine's Day. I mean, they planned it specifically for them to come here on Valentine's Day. So I can only tell, obviously what I know from my end, but first of all, when you call CPS and make a CPS report, and you call directly to CPS, that is that your identity is protected. You're getting a police report and your name's going on it, which is what the first person did. And that was just one of his followers. Well, I shouldn't say one of his followers. It's one of his hag crew. And so I guess I have to back up a little bit, because we are kind of talking about the peripheral people now that are involved.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to back up to like when I was inviting him, really. Again, I knew John for 4 years and thought we were relatively close. I knew a lot of inside information, and a lot about his life. So right before he moved here, he threw me into this group of women that I didn't know who they were. I didn't know who Julie was. I didn't know who City was. I didn't know I did know Ellie. Ellie I knew from last summer, so I'd been talking to her for a while. I didn't know who Jan was. That's Faith. I didn't know who any of those people were. And he threw me into this weird circle that I'm like, who are these people? Like, where did they come from? And so
when you say he threw you into them, did he like introduce you to them, and then
it was
force you to interact with them?
it was a forced interaction. He didn't introduce me. It was so bizarre. It's like one day I don't know them. The next day, like, Jan's got my phone number and she's calling me and she's my best friend. And oh my God, she's so excited that he's coming because she doesn't live far from me. It was like this bum rush into my life. It was so bizarre. And then they added me into DM groups. And so then I added my best friend into the DM group too. So, and it was all those ladies. The one person that wasn't in there was this Monica person. So I really didn't know who she was. And there was one point early on, she kept, at one point I removed all the people from my main profile and created, the second profile for like all the 90-day stuff and everything. And she kept requesting me. And I told the girls in the DM group, I was like, I'm not adding. I don't know who this is. I'm not. Just tell her to quit requesting me. She can add me on the other page. But I don't know her. I'm not adding her here. And that really, ticked off Monica apparently. And then I remember Jan like kind of obsessing over it. And I said, it's not going to happen. Well, it turns out, in the end, that's the person that called CPS, was that the person that was trying to get into my profile back then. So that's my only connection to her. I don't know this woman. I don't know her. I didn't talk to her. Had nothing to do with her.
Monica is the one that contacted CPS.
Oh yeah. Well, she's the one that called the police. So that's why her name is on the police report. And then she contacted CPS from there.
So she did both.
Yeah, she did both. Yeah.
And
then the second one was directly to CPS.
You talked to Monica, correct?
No, I've never talked to her before in my life.
Okay, you never talked to her?
No, but she said she was in my house, though.
Oh,
she actually told the police that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she's not getting in trouble for falsifying anything?
What CPS did was basically, they know the whole story. They know the whole story. So basically what they did was once they closed the case, they told me if there's any more problems, any more contact, if the case is brought up, any of the details are brought up or anything, that we need to contact them. So the first time that they did that, where they started talking about, I think it was him and Cody was, like perjuring himself and saying the opposite of what he said back then. We did let them know, and that's when they moved it to their legal department. Mm-hmm. So, but again, more has to happen then for them to take legal action, obviously. So I would assume, they don't, and we can go ahead and pursue it legally. There are definitely laws. Depending on where you live, and it would depend on all the people involved, where they are. Some places it's civil, some places it's a felony, that sort of thing. So it just depends on where everybody resides, basically, I think. But yeah, so we could take it up for sure. It just, this has been an ongoing thing, and the longer that we wait, the more stuff that happens to add to the evidence pile. So
yeah. Now, to your understanding, has this happened to other women in the past also?
Absolutely. Again, going back to where he stayed last summer, they had CPS called on them. And initially he had told me that that it wasn't him. However, he kind of blamed it on his haters. Oh, and that's why I made a big deal about CPS before he came here, and about not letting people know that he was here. I said, I'm not having people sending CPS to my house just because you're staying with me. I'm like, so I don't want people knowing that you're here. So that's what the big deal was about that before he got here, when he recorded that conversation. And he actually put that on IG and kind of like edited it to make it look a little odd, like I was talking about CPS, or I was concerned about CPS or something, but that was the issue. So, he always made it seem like it was his haters coming after people with CPS. But Cody flat out told me that he also, even if his haters did start the thing with Megan and Brian, Cody said that he called CPS on her as well. So I don't know if it was just him all along, or if he just did it in addition to somebody else. I'm not really sure. But that's neither. This is pretty
CPS
standard.
seems to get involved every time there's a woman, and there's
he weaponizes CPS. Absolutely. He weaponizes CPS, just like he seems to do with police against people of color. So, that's certainly not the first person. I've heard stories of other victims where he did the exact same. It's almost like a template that he uses in his head. And so, yeah, Megan and Bryant weren't the first people either, for sure. I think that this has been a habit for a long time. And obviously, we all know that he just did that to Nicole, I think is her name, over her reporting a picture. Like,
Nicole,
on what planet do you think those two things are equal? Like
Nicole
somebody
who?
this was a girl that I shouldn't call her a girl, she's a woman, that just went live with him or something recently.
Oh, okay, okay.
Something about cable bills and what have you.
And so
So
he
yeah,
threatened to call CPS on her.
yeah, he ordered his, I mean, this is on video, I believe, like he ordered his followers to like call CPS on her because she reported a picture on his OnlyFans. That's not what
Yeah.
CPS is for, John.
Yeah, it seems like it's being weaponized in a manner
Absolutely.
as some kind of revenge. So it's
Right.
like it's really tragic because it's something like that is really used for more serious issues than some kind of
Right.
beef that you have with people.
Right. I mean, that is, I've worked with these systems. I've made reports. Trust me, it is not that you should not tie up those kind of resources. I mean, they are stretched thin, and there are children that actually need help that are in danger. You don't play games with this.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
of course, yeah, and the resources are always tight, usually government resources, and
right.
by doing that, you're wasting resources, and also you could be implicated for criminal.
Well, yeah.
Criminal. I mean, you go to jail for that.
Right.
So, yeah, that's that's what I wanted to see happen, or see how I could guide this discussion on how that all occurred.
Right.
Now, you found out afterwards. You kind of unraveled the whole scheme, correct?
Yeah, it's been, yeah, absolutely putting pieces together, along the way. Obviously, when everything went down, I mean, and then by the time Cody left, it was such a crazy time because literally COVID was hitting just as he was leaving. Probably had he stayed another week, he would have been quarantined here. He would have been, well, I mean, everything went on lockdown. So, add that chaos to all of this. And that really also threw a monkey wrench, obviously, and everything that was going on because everybody was shutting down, all kinds of, what the chaos was like back in March. So, I didn't even bother to go get police reports until I didn't actually get them until June. And the same thing with the CPS report. I mean, it sat for a while just because of all the craziness going on. And plus we have the construction issues going on. So there are a lot of big things, but.
Yeah. So how many other victims do you think had this happen to, like the CPS issue?
Well, I mean, I'm thinking of 4 just off the top of my head, including myself. And those are all in like the last year. That's all in the last year, like since January 2019. So if it's been 4 people, just 4 women in just the last year that I know about, and I've been blocked from him since January, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that's just the surface. I'm sure there's a lot more. I mean, that's a typical threat that he uses anytime any woman pisses him off and they have kids, obviously. So I can't even imagine what the real number is. I can't. I'm sure there's people watching that could, Yeah,
if you have other knowledge once you watch this
Yeah.
video afterwards, just post a comment.
Right.
But it's important to get this out so people understand that this is a common or frequent issue
Yeah.
that comes up as a revenge tactic.
Yeah.
You double cross him, or if you criticize him, this will or could happen to you.
Absolutely.
It happened to you already. It was tragic situation, could have been a lot worse. Your husband is black, you're white.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah. I
just
mean, there's so many factors into it. And that reality, hit immediately. I think I started to tell you this and I didn't finish, either you or Leda, when I was talking to you guys about it. But the thing that really broke me that day was not, I was handling it fine. I mean, it doesn't hurt me. That's the point, is to try to hurt people and get under their skin. He looks for their weak points,
mhm.
obviously, and he knows he can't hurt my feelings. He can't get under my skin. So the only option he has is to go after the one thing that means the world to me, and that's my son. And he knew that. We had discussions about it over a different topic, a seedier topic.
Yeah, I mean, he knew I lived a clean life. Obviously, you can't find anything on me. So what do? You post a photo of my daughter.
Right. Well, that's the thing. And I've told that to people, again, because people keep saying, well, he can't, there's nothing for him to find on me. It's worse because he makes things up then. I mean, the things that he said to CPS were insane. It was insane. Like, I sat here and thought, like, why don't you at least try to look for things that are plausible, instead of like,
or just get off the internet if you can't handle criticisms.
Yeah, he's not going to do that. Wait, before I'll go back to that because I don't want to miss this opportunity about this. So the day that the police were here, came for this, and as he was explaining to us about the call and what happened, and we obviously knew what was going on, and it's not to put my husband on the spot, but to show you the seriousness and where it interweaves with being a person of color and all that, on top of it, is that my husband teared up when this happened. I can count on my hands how many times I've seen a tear come out of my husband's eye in the 14 years that we've been together, and that was one of them. Mm-hmm. And if John would have been here when this happened, I would have loved to have watched them cart him away and throw him in a cell and let him rot away there, just for that. Mm-hmm. Just for that. The pain that I saw in my husband's face because of that. How many fucking times, I'm sorry, I'm going to try not to cuss. It's just, mm-hmm. I have a truck driver mouth. But how many times I've seen people weaponize police and other systems like that. And I saw it in his face. And that is what infuriated me that day. Not even all of the lie. I mean, because that stuff it was laughable. It really was. I mean, he told CPS that I feed my child McDonald's every day. Hey, guess what? He's allergic to McDonald's. He can't, we don't eat out. We don't get like fast food because he has a gluten issue. So, I mean, Cody knew that. Hey, John, maybe pay attention for the last 2 months that you've been living in my house. If you're going to make up lies, at least do a little better job. I mean, the things that he said were just so off the chart that, when they sat here and asked us the questions, all three of us would be like, what? Are you kidding me? So, yeah.
Well, let's not dig too much deep into it, because I'd like, once we post this video, I want to see the comments from people about what they know about the whole CPS thing.
I think
also,
that's
do
important.
you think, like, recently with him getting all these cast members to post support on his behalf, do you think he's a victim in any way, shape, or form?
No, these are the people that have stuck with him all along. I mean, look at the people that he's getting to support him, and most of them. I mean, there's a few old cast he's juicing, a few old cast that have stuck along the way. Obviously, Beth's not going anywhere. I mean, if she do these nasty things for him, then she's going to be by his side. Rachel and John, I mean, really, you want to vouch for somebody like, hey, maybe get your man's like stuff together there. I mean, there's someone with a rage problem. Are you going to be judging this person as a good person? Apparently you're not a good judge of that, Rachel. I mean, that's how I felt about that, but so he doesn't really have trust me, there's a lot more cast he's burnt bridges with, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
just
oh yeah,
because they're not
I
out
know
there
that.
screaming. Yeah.
It's, I
So
mean, when you
he's
got
grasping. He's
he's got
grasping.
maybe a handful of cast members
Yeah.
that actually did it, and then he's trying to get like I guess good friends of his that have stuck by his side, or he's already burned and they, you know, either they're afraid of
Well,
him or something
yeah, I mean,
to
that group
post.
is his core group. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm waiting for Jan to post the picture she took of my child that night. You know,
Wait, what?
Jan, Faith, the
Hmm.
one of the friends that posted a picture in support of him, is the person that we met here. She doesn't live far from me. She was a big, huge part of this setup. She's the one that was calling me right away, and like my best friend, the people talk about her, oh, my best, you know, she thinks she's best friends with everybody. I
Hmm.
mean, she's the one that like pulled me right in, starts calling, you know. And we met her for dinner. And so the picture that she posted, you know, as well, I guess it's the only picture she'd have with him, but, you know, that was like an alert to me, like, hey, here's the night we went out. So she took pictures of my child that night. You know, they passed around pictures of my child from that night. I know that. I got DMs early on about that. So,
So they used the picture of your child and they used that as part of the CPS
oh, I don't
issue.
know if they sent it to CPS,
Okay.
but I had somebody message me
But they
early
do know
on.
that they do know a picture. Did they ever post it online?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I
But
don't know if it
they
might have
just have
stayed in
possession of
DM
it.
groups. Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
seen it online anywhere, but you know, they definitely posted. I had someone message me saying, "Oh, I saw a picture of your child today. You know, you should be cautious and stay away from these people. You know how nasty people can be." It was
Mhm.
kind of a veiled threat. That's actually posted on my timeline.
I see. Okay, so let's just cut it here.
Okay.
Um, if anybody has any questions about that, drop a comment. I do know that I've heard a lot of people in the DMs. I just don't remember your name, saying that this has happened before to them or to somebody
Right.
that they know. You know, it's important to kind of unravel this, because if you don't at this point, it's just going to continue to happen.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and leave a comment or DM myself, or actually Jen is kind of taking this on because it was personal for her. It actually happened to her. So
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
and I'll definitely share with the appropriate people, so we'll all be
yeah,
informed.
okay.
All right.
But anyway, I appreciate you taking this very short time to address this. And if we need anything else, we'll just get back together online. All right.
You
Appreciate
got
it,
it.
Jen. All
All
right.
right.
Take
Have a
care.
good
Have a
one.
good rest of your Sunday.
Okay. You too,
Bye.
hon. Bye. And I'm still here. I'm going to end it. But by all means, if anybody is in contact with people that this has happened to through John, get a hold of me. I will definitely share with Yahoo as well. And it's just time to put a stop to this. This reign of terror has got to end. So thanks for listening, guys. We'll talk to you later.